I'm really excited about this as an opponent. He's a legit guy. He's fought in the UFC, 6 fight win streak. So he's got a lot of lose in this fight, and I think that the more tough guys that I fight, it will just overshadow any of those fights that I lost that I should have won.
Christopher de Santiago with MMA Island. Today I'm joined by a former two-division champion in cage science. We're talking to Mr. Skeletor, Joe Giannetti, head of his return at Cage Science 73. Joe, how's it going today, man?
I'm doing good. Just got finished training. Had to go run some errands, but I'm home now. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. It's good to see you, on a win streak, back-to-back wins. First win at LFA. You got the KO at Karate Combat in under a minute. Is this Joe Giannetti 2.0?
I don't know, man. I think that I'm just always improving. I don't like to really think of like the 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. I feel like, my career, I'm just always trying to improve. And I've said it earlier on, like you're never going to get the same version of me. I'm just hoping that every time you guys see me in action, it's just going to be a better version.
For sure, man. And happy fight week, by the way. I believe this is like, what, 13 years now? Are you still enjoying the journey?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely getting harder and harder. The sport's always changing and evolving. And now that I've opened up my own gym, I try to preach that to my guys is like, you're never good enough. Like if you're getting into this thing for the long haul, like you're never good enough. You always got to get better. And if you're not prepped to do that, you're gonna be in for a long ride.
Hmm. What do you fight for now? And I guess how has that changed since the beginning of your career, man?
Honestly, now it's really just for the love of the game. Obviously early on, like everybody's always like, oh, I wanna be like rich and famous and have Lambos and all this stuff. It's like I genuinely just wanna be the best in the world, and I really enjoy who I am when my diet's clean, I'm training 2, 3 times a week, 7 days, 6 days a week. I just like who I become as a person. So yeah, I'm just fighting to fight and be the best in the world.
Awesome, man. I believe your last few hard days of training camp are over. I guess, was there anything different for this training camp, and where did you spend this one at?
Yeah, this is a first for me. So my last few camps I've done at Morcelli Jiu-Jitsu and then a couple days a week at the New England Cartel. And then after opening my own spot, Giannetti Martial Arts, it's been 7 days a week at Giannetti Martial Arts and 3, 4 days a week at New England Cartel. And I'm spending like 6 hours a day in the gym now. The gym I opened is only a couple minutes from my house. I have to teach and run classes there, and then I jump in on the live training. So I'm getting all the work in, whether it's live or technical training, more than I have in so long. And not just jujitsu. Morcelli Jiu-Jitsu is still one of the best schools around for jujitsu, but now I'm doing it for my striking, for my jujitsu, my wrestling, kickboxing, everything. And I was telling people the other day, I think that because I'm teaching so many basics, I feel my basics sharpening up so much. So I'm really looking forward to my performance this weekend.
Hmm. And it's been so long since I've talked to you. So, like, I guess who's in your corner now? Is it Tyson Chartier? Because I know he works with the cartel.
Yeah, so Tyson Chartier will be in my corner. This will be his first time in
Nice.
there, and then Justin Burrell. He was my high school wrestling coach. He's been in my corner every single fight. So that's not going to be any different. He'll be in my corner this fight too.
Awesome, man. I believe Andrew Mack said something that your last fight you thought it was going to be your last one at Cage Science. I guess what brought you back to Cage Science?
Just trying to be active, man. Like I said, I want to be the best in the world, which means I need to get back to the UFC, which means I need to be active. I've lost, out of my 6 losses in my career, I'd say most of them are fights that I probably should have won. And so it's really just about being active. The Karate Combat fight win was awesome. LFA first win was amazing, but that was back in March, and I tried to do a quick turnaround. I got hurt at work and I couldn't. And then a couple other things got in the way. So just trying to get right back in the cage, stay active, fight good competition, and beat good competition. So, it was tough to try and get fights at other promotions, or promotions were kind of ghosting me, and then on like a week's notice, being like, "Oh, you want to fight this guy?" And I was like, "No." And I did have a couple of killers that I got offered for title fights for promotions. I said yes, they said no. And then I was like, at this point, I'm like, I really don't care where I fight. I need to get something on the book. So I hit up Cage Titans, and they were like, the door is always open.
Awesome, man. It was really cool to see you start marketing for this fight because you put the "trim the bush" tagline and stuff like that. Are you enjoying the that aspect of this fight? And second question to that is, are you satisfied with Bush as an opponent?
Yeah, 100%. It's been pretty fun. It's just been like a little bit of playful banter between us. And I think because we're in pretty similar spots in our career, we're both trying to get back to the big show. He comes from a really, really good camp. I train with a good camp here. Yeah, it's been fun. And I'm really excited about this as an opponent. He's a legit guy. He's fought in the UFC, 6 fight win streak, so he's got a lot of lose in this fight. I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, you're on a 2 fight win streak," but it's like it's weird. One was Karate Combat, and then the other one was MMA. So I mean, I guess you could say I'm just coming off of one like MMA win. But yeah, no, I'm really excited about this fight, and I think that the more tough guys that I fight, it will just overshadow any of those fights that I lost that I should have won, whether it be my lack of performance or the judges sleeping on the job. But yeah, I'm really excited for this matchup.
Yeah, and the Karate Combat one was cool because I mean different rule set and stuff like that. How did you find it? I know the fight lasted a minute, but I guess how did you find that?
It was awesome, man. I'm a big gamer and a nerd, and I told all my friends when I came back, and I was like, dude, that was, I think, the closest thing to being in like a Mortal Kombat situation. Like, I was telling all my friends, like, the broadcast is what is happening in real time. Obviously not the effects over the arena. That would have been
Hmm.
crazy. But, I'm sitting on the corner of the pit, and all I'm thinking is like, all right, just, play it smooth, go in there, do your thing, don't fall when you get in the pit. And then you just hear over the arena like fighters enter the pit, and I was like, oh, it's like that. Like I felt like I got dropped into a game. And the rule set pushes the action. There's competition and there's fighting, and Karate Combat really pushes the fighting aspect of things. You can't lay and pray. You can't just take a guy down and hit little short rapid punches. Like we're trying to fight, which I think works in my favor. So the whole experience was awesome. I loved it.
You mentioned Mortal Kombat there. Is that your favorite video game or favorite fighting video game?
Yeah, it's definitely up there. If Mortal Kombat's something I've been playing since I was a kid, and I always pick up the new ones. I haven't picked up the newest one, but yeah, I've been playing Mortal Kombat my whole life. I love it.
Awesome, man. I know the mission is UFC, but I guess you go into Karate Combat. Does that leave the door open to a return at Karate Combat, BKFC, Dirty Boxing? Do you look at the other avenues in combat sports?
Yeah, I kind of look at them as like side quests, and that's what I said when I first went to Karate Combat. It was just kind of one of those things where I was coming off a disappointing loss at my last Cage Titans fight, and I was like, why not? Like the spot that I'm in, it's not like I'm gonna go take an MMA fight, beat somebody, and then the UFC's gonna be like, oh, we need to have them. So I was like, let's go mess around a little bit. So I did that side quest to Karate Combat. That was awesome. I would love to go back. And then I've been blowing up Dirty Boxing social media. I was like, I would love to do Dirty Boxing. I think promotions like that just play into my style. So yeah, no, for sure. I would love to go to Dirty Boxing. I would love to go to Karate Combat. And then, I'd still love to do MMA too if I could. The biggest thing right now is, like I said, being the best version of myself, becoming the best in the world. And like the biggest thing that would help with that is getting paid enough to where I could quit my damn job. I work overnights. This stuff sucks. So if I could just focus my entire life on being the best version of myself and the best fighter in the world, that would be amazing. So it's just one step at a time, and whatever promotion can offer that, like that's where I'm looking.
Hmm. And you did mention the last loss at K Times was disappointing. Have you gone back and watched that fight? And I guess how do you look back on it like a year later?
No, I actually haven't watched it back yet. It's weird. I have this thing with like maybe I get too lost in the celebration, but when I win a fight, there are parts of it that I tend to forget. And I'm like, oh, I forgot I did that, or I forgot they did that. My losses, I remember every single second of my losses. I could tell you what I did in what round, what I messed up. But yeah, no, so I haven't gone back and watched it. I do remember the fight. There was some things that I did or didn't do that were pretty disappointing. And then, like I said, the argument could be made that I should have won the fight. I had a lot of fans on both sides of the fence telling me I probably should have won the fight. But I always like to say, it's like I could sit here and complain about the judges all day, or I can sit there and look and go, all right, well, if you did these things right, you wouldn't have to worry about the judges. So that's really what I kind of try to focus on with that fight.
Hmm. And speaking about like celebrations and stuff like that, has the way that you celebrate after fights changed at all as you progress through your career? Because I feel like I've heard something like Bryce Mitchell said that the bigger he celebrates, like the sadder he is after a win or after a loss. So I guess have you changed the way that you look at celebrations? I guess.
I'd say so, yeah. I when I was like younger, maybe before Tough, the after party for Cage Titans is right out back. There's a local bar out there, and we go out there, and me and my buddies used to get hammered. And even after fights or even out of camp, I don't really drink that much anymore. It's just not that appealing to me. I don't like the way it feels. And like I said, that's another reason that I like being in fight camp. I like who I become. I like this version of myself. I'll drink some non-alcoholic beers, hang out with my buddies. And now, like, my last couple fights, win and lose, I go get a cheeseburger with my friends, and then we have a few drinks and we just hang out. It's not like we're blacking out anymore. Um, but the losses, losses have always kind of been the same to me. I'm a hypocrite. When I see my friends lose, I always tell them, I'm like, hey, go celebrate. And they're like, I lost. Why would I celebrate? And I'm like, you made it 6 to 8 weeks, pushing yourself every day without getting hurt. Like, celebrate that, if not celebrate a win. And then myself, when I lose, I'm like, just send me back to the hotel room, put on some Dragon Ball Z, let me eat a tub of ice cream or something.
What's Joe Giannetti's go-to order at Five Guys?
Bacon cheeseburger, just plain. So I need the two patties, bacon cheeseburger. I need a large fry, and I want a vanilla milkshake with whipped cream. That's all I've been thinking about this week already.
Awesome, man. When's the last time that you were like in I guess gaming on Fortnite?
Honestly, a couple weeks ago, they dropped Power Rangers, so that drew me right back in. And me and my buddy started playing. We were actually cooking a little bit. I was like, oh my God, maybe I'm good at this again.
Awesome, man. And how's that aspect, I guess, outside of your career, are you still keeping up with streaming and stuff like that? I know not so much in fight camp, but I guess outside of it, are you still keeping up with that?
Yeah, for sure. I had a hard time really balancing it because I try to make a stream schedule and I try to really make sure that everybody that's subbing on Twitch and things like that was getting the most bang for their buck. 'Cause, they're giving me like their hard-earned money, and I felt bad, if I'd have a fight camp and I'd stream once a week when I said I'd stream 3 or 4 times a week. But now, I kind of just came to this point where I was like, even if I'm playing video games a couple times a week in camp, I'm not going to stream because it feels a little bit too much like work and it feels like I'm taking my focus and energy away from the fight. I've still been gaming this camp. I'm playing Warzone with my buddies, whatever, but I haven't been streaming. And I think everybody's just kind of fallen onto the same page. I told everybody, I was like, as soon as this fight's over, win, lose, or whatever, that Sunday or that Monday, I'll be live. We can all hang out and talk about the fight. So yeah, we found a really good balance with that, and it's been really cool.
Hmm. You've won four out of your last five fights by way of finish, I believe. Do you feel like you need to finish, all things considered, like because he is a former UFC fighter? Do you feel like you need to finish this weekend?
What's crazy is I feel like a lot of people get asked this question and they all go like, yeah, I need to finish. I have to. The way my career's gone, I really don't think I do, Like I think I could go out there and lay on this guy for 3 rounds, and if the UFC was gonna sign me with a win, they would sign me with a win. But
Yeah.
I've made mistakes in fights where I'm like, oh, I gotta push the pace here because everybody's gonna think I'm boring. And then I lose the fight and I'm like, nobody even cares how the fight went. They're just mad that I lost. So I don't think I need to finish over this guy. But personally, I want to finish over this guy. I don't get paid by the hour. I go into every fight. I'm trying to get the finish. And I always just like to look back and be like, yeah, I did that. And like when I have kids one day, when they're like mouthing off to me and not listening, I'm just gonna play the tape and be like, remember, your dad can do that.
I guess what separates Cage Titans from other promotions? You mentioned Karate Combat being like a kind of Mortal Kombat-esque. How is Cage Titans? Because personally, I haven't been to one of their shows yet.
Man, you're missing out. First things first. But I will
Hey, it's
say,
way
like,
too far away, man. Way too far away. Yeah, eventually I'll get there.
you got to make a vacation out of it. It's just an awesome community, and like the people that I've met through there, it's been crazy. Whether it's other fighters from out of town that now become regulars, or a guy that fought at Cage Titans once, or fans that become like sponsors or friends, even. The community is insane, and obviously, with a small community, there's the downsides of like people think they know you, so they get a little bit mouthier than they should, especially behind the keyboards. But outside of like the social things, like for me personally at least, I think that career wise and financially, Cage Titans is one of the best local promotions in the world. Like I tell people all the time, like, oh, why don't you go fight here? Or why don't you go fight here? And I'm like, why would I fly to another state to fight a killer and sell zero tickets, get paid less of a purse, and get less sponsorship money because, representing a Massachusetts business out in Wisconsin isn't nobody's going to pay me to do that. But, here at home, it's like I'll fight the same killer, just fly him in here. I'll still fight him. It's not a matter of who I fight. But, the local mom and pop shop down the street, they're going to be like, hey, well, you're going to be repping in my neighborhood. Can I put my logo on your shorts? Of course. And then everybody wants to go. They'll buy tickets. Those people want shirts to rep at the fight. And Cage Titans does such a good job with like ticket commission and advertising each and every fighter. I mean, you can even look at this card. It's not like they're just saying like, oh, Joe Giannetti's fighting, Joe Giannetti's fighting. They're promoting everybody on the card. And it helps build guys up to when they do go pro and they start getting a purse, helps your social media. I think that Cage Titans is one of the best organizations, like I said, financially and career wise for building people up that I've ever fought for.
Awesome, man. I think that's all the questions I had for you today, Joe. I just want to thank you again for the time, especially ahead of this fight week. Is there anything that you want to say to the fans out there watching ahead of this fight?
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I know it was a pain to have me on here. I was a little bit
Oh, no.
wishy-washy. Usually not, but everybody that's gonna watch the fight, I appreciate you guys supporting me. If you're watching the fight to watch me lose, you're watching the fight anyway, so I don't care. Everybody that's ever bought tickets, t-shirts, if you ever sponsored me, not just this fight, just ever, I appreciate it. You guys are such a huge part of this. You're another reason that I can do what I do and take a week off of work the week of the fight. So yeah, just thank you to everybody, all my sponsors. We got Two Fight Bros, Natalia Vargas Insurance, Home Comfort. Everybody's been awesome. So I can only just say thank you.